Our program is called Traditional Parenting for Indigenous Families. And we have two programs here at CARA. One is the traditional parenting, the other program is called the Sharing Circle. Both programs have some of the similar focuses, but I'll take them one at a time because they have some similar directions with regards to why and how. The Traditional Parenting for Indigenous Families program is a 9-week program that we have here at CARA. It is not an accredited program. It's one that we designed ourselves through some research and just kind of looking what was needed in the community and our way of helping with reconciliation. Trying to offer more programming for Indigenous families in the communities of North Edmonton. Our age group or our target audience is of course families. CARA Family Resource Centre is a Parent Link Centre. We're one of the 56 Parent Link Centres in the province of Alberta. And with that, we focus on 5 pillars of service: parent education, family support, early childhood development, developmental screening, and information and referrals. And so traditional parenting for Indigenous families kind of falls under family support as well as parent education. And so our target audience is families with children 0 to 6. As a Parent Link Centre, that is the age target that we focus on. The aim of our program is, of course, to promote healing, but it also is, also it's our way as an agency to kind of to promote healing within the communities of North Edmonton, but as well is to kind of bring about some kind of reconciliation. It's our way of being responsible to the Indigenous community. The aim of the program, of course, is on parent education. We focus on early literacy, and we focus on building on their existing literacy skills that they have. One of our funders for the program is ECALA, and it stands for Edmonton Community Adult Learning Association. And so, like with regards to being ethical to the funding guidelines, is that we're promoting early literacy in children and families. We also they graduated from or completed, whichever word you prefer. They completed the program for traditional parenting today, and with that they received a culturally appropriate book. So they actually received a book written by Indigenous authors for Indigenous families and written for Indigenous families. And that to me is very important. When you take some pictures of our agency, one of the things is that I love art and I love visuals, and I think our Indigenous families need to see some of their culture amongst CARA and throughout CARA. The other aim of our program, of course, is we have 8 topics that we kind of focus on in the traditional parenting. The first one, of course, is getting to know each other and building trust and learning about how early literacy impacts a child's life. We also focus on listening skills and communication and acknowledging children's feelings. The other part that we include is, which is my favorite part, sorry, Lincoln, is that we invite our guests to CARA. We invite some knowledge keepers and an elder to come and to share teachings and to share stories and to share Indigenous culture with these families. So that is a huge part of the aim of the program as well. Is and one of the things that going back a couple of years ago is that it was also a way for them to kind of connect with the Creator. as well, with their own culture and their own language. Like today we got to learn that I surprised everybody with some Cree writing on a cake, and they got to see that, right? And one family in particular was pretty proud of that because they were taking pictures of that before they went home, right? So it's important that they get to see that their language is important and that it's honored and respected. What else is the aim of our program? We focus on positive discipline skills, of course. Yes, because we do focus on positive parenting here at CARA, and so positive discipline and the different parenting styles and different positive discipline techniques is also included in the parenting program. And the other one, besides storytelling, communication skills, and working with the elder and the teachings, is self-esteem, right? Is doing our best to enhance their self-esteem and the self-esteem of their children. And I'm just going to pause and let Lincoln add anything else that he thinks the aim of the program might be.
Well, one thing that I've seen that works really well with our families is we smudge and pray before each program, and that just creates such a good energy for the group. It builds a lot of trust within myself, like as a facilitator, they trust me. So when we go into group, we're already in a good place, and it really just opens up that line of communication between me as a facilitator and them as parents, depending on what the topic is. So like today we talked about families as teams. Well, then we'll get into that, but that ability to smudge and pray just offers that good dynamic of good energy. And not only that though, but as CARE as an agency, they leave here knowing that CARE is a safe place, that we're friendly in that sense, so that's a strength. They leave here knowing that they can come back, that it's a very non-judgmental place, it's very non-institutional. And some of these families are, they have second generation residential schools or whatever, so they're carrying some trauma. For them to be engaged in an institution like CARA, it really breaks down their barriers, breaks down their defenses. So that's what that smudging and praying offers.
Well, of course there's the numbers, but for those, that doesn't matter to me. It does to our funders and all that kind of stuff. But to me, the successes come from numerous different ways, and I'm gonna put my input and then let Lincoln add his. But I'm just thinking back at Christmas time when we finished our first round of the program, and the families that were here that shared, because they, like Lincoln said, come from, trauma, and sharing that, they did not know how to parent. The only thing that they learned about parenting was abuse, because of the trauma that they survived. And to be able to have that safe environment, to be able to have that place where they felt comfortable enough to share that, and to have that open amongst the floor, and to discuss that with each other. That to me is a huge success. Anything from the heart to me is a huge success. The assisting them in getting their children returned to them from children's services is a huge success. Like keeping the families united is a huge success. Just the connections, the connections, and seeing how they're connected to culture, and because one of our objectives is to connect them with an elder, and or a knowledge keeper, depending on who we can get here. And this time around, they were able to have both, and to see them connected with someone that from their culture, but from an older generation, right? because some of these families are so young, and they're urbanized as well. So yeah, to see that connection between the elder and them, that's a huge success. So I'm going to then put it over to you, because you're in the grassroots of it all.
Well, I think, yeah, the numbers are great. The course summers that we do for our funders, those are great, but I don't think that really tells whether the program's successful or not. Where you see if the program's successful is if they walk out of here taking some knowledge. If they can walk out of here with their less weight on their shoulders, if they can walk out of here knowing that they feel safe, that their support here, that's where the real success comes. Because it's a mix between parent education and family support, but they're coming away from this program knowing that, well, one, care is a safe place. They're getting some knowledge, but they're also not being judged upon. You know, so some of our program participants, not all of them, but we do get some that are mandated from children's services, and or even just maybe family support workers, but they're being told always what to do. Right. You know, you got to do A, B, C, and D. Well, it's not so much like that here. Well, at least I can't speak for my other facilities, but I do believe they take that approach. But it's not so much from a lecture point. We want to engage with these parents because they're the knowledge, or they know, they have the parenting skills. It's just a matter of us how we can help them along to either refine them or whatever. So that's where the true success is, I believe, is how they walk out the door.
One of the reasons that we brought about the sharing circle was to build relations and healing within the community of North Edmonton, and especially the communities of Baldwin, Belvedere, where we're housed, where Cara is located. So it's more of a community-based program versus a parenting program. So you don't have to be a parent to attend the sharing circle. The objective of attending the sharing circle is to connect with the creator, to connect with culture, and just to increase any kind of knowledge of Aboriginal culture, you know. We have the sharing circle twice a month, the second and the last Mondays of the month, in the evenings. We also offer stew or soup and bannock so that they can eat first before we do the sharing circle. The target audience, once again, is the community. You know, anyone in the community can attend. They don't have to be a parent. The aim of the program, I guess, is to promote healing, to promote community relations, to promote resiliency, to promote reconciliation. And it's a growing. We have successful sharing circles, and because it's a continuum, so sometimes they're hugely successful, and then we go through a lull where they're not attended, and then they're back again. So just because they're new, I think it's something that if we keep persisting along, they'll become more successful down the road, right? And more attended down the road. How do we know that they're a success? Just from the stories that they share back with us. You know, that the fact that they feel safe once again, that they feel comfortable coming here, that Lincoln was away on vacation, and I had the opportunity of facilitating the sharing circle this one particular night in his absence, and we had a young gentleman who I asked to lead the smudge, and he was very, very nervous, and he didn't really want to, But because he was just afraid that he didn't know what he was doing, right? He didn't have the confidence in it. But then I let him know that, like, listen to your heart, and there's no judgment here. This is you're leading this smudge. This is you, and we will take your lead. And to see the confidence come from him after he did the smudging with everyone here and then said a prayer, the confidence that aroused in him, and the pride. It's that's a success. Yeah.
I think in a lot of ways it's just kind of reinforcing our culture, or things that we've been taught. Well, one of them would be just honoring us as Indigenous people, and however that looks like. So sharing our culture, how that can look. So that can look in the ways of sharing circle, parent education, our traditional parenting program. That can be in the way of helping community members be connected to that. Mm-hmm. And I mean that through like an information referral. I've helped a couple of community members find a public sweat lodge or an elder. A colleague on the south side wanted me to help him find an elder for a program that he has in the summer. But it's also teaching the community what our culture is about smudging, about sweetgrass, whatever teachings that I have that I've been able to share in sharing circle. But there's also to those who don't know. Mm-hmm. So maybe it is not in a traditional parenting program, maybe it's in another parent education program, but I can share a little bit of knowledge that this is kind of how we do it in Aboriginal culture, right? Because there's a lot of misconceptions out there. So, and it's also about being a good role model. If I'm going to be working a lot with Indigenous families, then I need to be walking a fairly good path. Yeah. And it's also to my coworkers here, who maybe aren't aware of much of our culture. So I need to try and lead them as best I can, right? So
just the importance of them connecting with an elder, and having an opportunity and a place to connect with the Creator. Those are two things that I advocate for, and I make sure happens. We've had a lot of people in the community working with us, and the Aboriginal Parent Link Center in Edmonton also referred an elder to us as well, and working collaboratively back and forth with other agencies. So so not so far. Lincoln has connections as well with regards to some people in the community, and we haven't been stuck. We've been very fortunate, and I'm very grateful for that. For the next 10 years, I hope that we can continue to offer traditional parenting here. One of the things that I'm very grateful to say that we've been able to accredit myself and Lincoln in an accredited Aboriginal parenting program called ALAPS, Aboriginal Literacy and Parenting Skills. So we will then move forward with the accredited program so that the families are actually getting so their certificates or their letters that they need with regards to children's services will come with more weight, right? So we're now accredited. We went to training and we have that, and we can now offer that in the fall. We will be offering that program. So that is one of my visions, is to continue to do that a few times throughout the year over the next few years. My vision is that the families grow, the amount of families that come here become huge, and that we're making an impact, by reaching more families.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add?
Awareness.
Yes.
Awareness and collaboration with other agencies in this part of the city. Right now, it's getting out there. So I have, as part of my role here as a community outreach worker, is working with other agencies in how Indigenous perspectives. So one of the things we're planning for July 7th is a cultural gathering to get Indigenous families together to know more knowledge about the resources in the northeast end of the city. So that's really it, because I think if the more awareness that the community has about care and what we're doing with Indigenous families, then we're going to benefit from that, and they'll benefit from that as well. So
We need to keep continually increasing awareness and promoting Aboriginal training amongst staff here. So like, just to increase their knowledge, and their understanding, and their empathy and compassion. There's a lot of families that come here that suffer from second generational trauma, like what Lincoln was saying. What other materials, resources do we need? Access to elders, like we've received, continued access, so that continues on. Staying connected in the community.
I think opportunities would be one of them. Since I've been here, and we've got the funding for the sharing circle and traditional parenting, that just increased, I think, our awareness in the community of the programs we have. So if we had, let's say, maybe another opportunity to do, just for example, let's say a quarterly event yearly where it's just Indigenous focused, that's an opportunity that will only help us engage with more Indigenous families. And that's really it. I think just those opportunities, right? And also along with that, maybe collaborations with different organizations, even different, just collaborations in general.